Yeah.
Yeah.
Hip hop grew up.
Hey.
Since I currently reside in Atlanta, Georgia, I was nominated to kick off this conversation. We have a very special guest with us on Hip Hop Grew Up this evening. My brother from another, Reggie Coby, Austin, Texas finest, MC, producer, vocalist, songwriter, father extraordinaire. What's going on, Reggie?
Hey man, how you doing, brother?
Man, I'm blessed. Blake likes to add on to my intro. What else can you add on about Reggie, man?
I want to hear this.
Reggie Electronica. He's in the Guinness Book of World Records for the most valuable vault of unreleased music. Unmixed.
I take that. I take that. I got this coming. I promise.
Word.
He's one of the greatest hip hop sketchbooks of all time.
That's a good one, Boo.
With the words, bro. Boo always does that, man.
Yeah, we have to roll back the intro. So welcome.
Well, welcome. Can I congratulate you on your book? You and your son's book?
Sure.
Is this an appropriate venue in which to do that?
Why not?
Well, that shit is really dope. You know what I mean? You know, my son and your son are friends. So, like, to show him like that, you know what I'm saying? Like, in, you know, book, like a real book, dog. Yes, I know. That's the whole point of what this is all about. But just like to watch him and then see him oh shit, that's Mr. Oh, he calls you Mr. Bavu. He calls you Mr. Bavu. So I just wanted to say, man, congratulations. Thank you. That shit's really beautiful and impactful. And I just want to give you your flowers for that.
Thank you. He's talking about Ellesmere.
Yeah.
Pre-order in June, for sale in September. Inshallah. Should I say God willing? Both of which bring me to the cover of Soul Food. I relate to what Dallas Austin was talking about. When that came out, you had to play it on repeat. Matter of fact, I took that single, Soul Food, Cell Therapy, and Benz or Beamer from the New Jersey Drive soundtrack.
Yeah, okay.
And I took my whole stereo to the Bayou Classic in New Orleans, and I played that cassette over and over and over and over again the entire weekend, doing all of the things that young men do at a college age at Bayou Classic, but that was playing over and over again. A couple of times we might have popped in the Players Club cassette single, Raven Forte.
Yeah.
I was 90% of a Bayou Classic weekend on a balcony at the Inn on Bourbon. That single. Maxi single. It had 2 Goody Mob songs, 1 Outkast song. So I fully relate to what Dallas Austin was saying about first catching on to it and then playing it on repeat, because that's exactly what we did for a whole weekend.
It was insane. That first taste of Goody Mob, and that just when it hit your ears and when it hit your soul and you realize this was something different. Let me frame this real quick, man. TV One has been airing a series called Unsung over the last 10 years. 10 years now?
It's been a few years.
I was watching it in Cali.
Okay, so
there you go.
It's an amazing series. If you're a Hip Hop Grew Up follower, if you follow what we do, you probably follow Unsung. Some of the most influential and important musicians and songwriters within Black music and Black culture have careers that either were derailed by personal issues, industry issues, but this show makes it a point to go back and tell their story so that the history books and the narrative is not lost. So Goody Mob was up tonight. I want to say there's been a few hip hop, but not that many hip hop. It usually sticks to R&B artists. And so to have Goody Mob, first of all, hip hop, second of all, Southern hip hop featured, it was exciting. So we all talked to brother, hey, let's watch this, let's get some raw emotions. So we just finished watching it, so that you understand how raw these emotions are. So you saw it, I saw it. Let's jump in.
You want me to?
Let's go.
Well, I mean, like, I look at the kids listening to the music now, and while I don't necessarily vibrate with the music, I can understand why they do, because this album, Soul Food, came into my life at a time when I was 15, bro. And I was just telling y'all before we got on, like I got that shit church trip. I was on a church bus. And I traded a CD with another girl on the bus, and I didn't want to give it back. And she was like, "You really like that shit, huh?" And I was like, "I love it." And she said, "Keep it." You know what I'm saying? And she gave me my R. Kelly CD back. I was a nigga. I was 15. He was listening to R. Kelly, but
lie down on the floor.
We was all thinking we was grown listening to R. Kelly, man. Go ahead.
Yeah. But just like at that age, and they spoke to this on the special too. But like at that age, to hear like that gave me an identity. You know, like I grew up around dope boys and trappy shit, and I'm not that kind of guy, right? So I didn't feel like, how am I gonna rap? You know? But when them boys did that and CeeLo singing shit that sound like I'm in church, like it gave me like, if any one album changed my life, I would, because like just at that time as a young man coming into his own, like it just, yeah, it poured into me.
Word. I guess before we get into the episode, we could talk about, our first impressions of Goody Mob. Soul Food was mine. I remember hearing Soul Food, and I think the special even talked about the fact that the hook was like a gospel song, and it was just, it was unlike anything I had ever heard. And I want to say it must have been, no, it was Gip who said Cujo, who gave you the addresses in his verse. He was like Wichita Drive, and he was talking about JJ's. Things, man. Like to this day, my first trip to Atlanta when I was touring with Mojo, my first trip, we went to the Beautiful. We went to the spot where they did the cover. Like the music was so graphic, the imagery was so graphic that I had never heard anybody give you like the addresses of spots, the name of restaurants. And like you said, it wasn't gangster rap. Gangster rap.
The gangster.
You see what I'm saying? So that's how it hit me, and it just for somebody who I always value songwriting. You know what I'm saying? That's always been something that I paid attention to more than lyricism, more than dance. Whatever. I love someone who knows how to put together a song. And just from Soul Food right there, I said, oh no, these are songwriters. You know what I'm saying? I just always been on the Goody Mob train from there. What you got, Vu?
To me, I remember it being like a continuation of Outkast, which we were really digging into, and really curious about what else was coming from these guys that started with the Christmas song, like Curtis Blow started with the Christmas song. And then Southern Playalistic did what it did. And then Goody Mob really just felt like a continuation. It felt like getting more from them. Back then there were the bigger crews and groups that were really closely affiliated like that. Yeah. So it just felt like a way to get more music from Outkast and them is the way it felt at the time. But then the beats were super stripped down. The lyrics were often a lot less articulate depending on who was rhyming. But the vibe and the information and it had that Kendrick Lamar anthropology thing going where, like you said, you felt like you took a trip, which was what Outkast had already laid down. They never went more than like a minute without dropping some information specific to Atlanta. And I noticed on this special when CeeLo said we were civil rights activists fighting for the equality of Southern hip hop. And Gip said we're gonna make it our biz to be better than everything.
He said,
I remember it feeling that way, like they were just really leaning into who they were and placing all their chips on, we are good enough, Atlanta is good enough. We know y'all heard Southern Playalistic, let's go deeper. And that's exactly what it felt like to me at the time.
Yeah. The South got something to say. I was watching the actual Bus Awards. Like when Andre gets up there, like the shit that's on Chunky Fire at the end of a Criminal. And, you know, like, we got a demo tape, but don't nobody want to hear it. I remember watching that live and just being like, whoa, what the fuck, you know? Especially at the time when everybody was beefing. So just to give it context as to what was actually happening in hip hop, like, at the time.
Yeah, man. And like you said, it was a collective. So every time anybody dropped, whether it was Backbone, Cool Breeze, like I just ate DF up. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna put this out here, man, and we can use information from the documentary or not. But Goody Mob. What you laughing for, Reggie?
Nah, bro, go ahead. No Andre 3000 slander.
Nah. No slander to him. But I am gonna say this. Goody Mob, to me, most important Southern rap group of all time. Now, I'm qualifying that because we all know that Outkast probably is the most impactful. But even Dre told you that when CeeLo wrote the hook for Get Up, Get Out, he said that, I'm quoting it, this is what he said. When he wrote the hook and he dropped the verse, and they got on it, Dre said that was almost like a memo. It was a manifesto for something that was about to change. So even though Southern Playalistic, like you said, Vu, was very anthropological, right? Goody Mob was on something else, and everybody in the dungeon knew it already, right? You had Cujo, who probably had a little OG status, a little older. You had Timo, who was in that range. You had Gip, who might have had a little bit more street stripes than all the other guys, you know what I'm saying? And then you got CeeLo, who definitely was, in the documentary touched on it, man, a troubled child. You know what I'm saying? He came from a rough background too, but he had made up in his mind because of family issues that I'm gonna change up my life. I'm gonna do something that's gonna help my community instead of tearing it down. Now you bring all that together, I feel like what they gave us, man, lyrically, sonically, and visually, is the most important representation of the South. I never said that out loud, man. I'm gonna stamp that tonight, especially after watching this doc, man. I think they're the most important rap group to ever come out the South. Outkast is up there. They're the most important.
I mean, my only argument would be Ghetto Boys, but simply because of seniority. And then, like, because we all listen to Ghetto Boys. We all, like, are students of Jay Prince in whatever way. So, like, but I mean, for me in my life, I actually can ride with you on that statement, because that was some life-changing shit for me, man. For real.
Yeah.
It's hilarious that CeeLo said they took the word country as condescending, because that album, that group is country.
I think we all did.
But they're much more than that.
On Dime Trap, where he goes, country niggas over there, shouting, I'm Southern. Like, to distinguish, I mean, I got family in Alabama, and them niggas country, you know. They good people, but they are the, you know, quintessential country. You feel me? But Atlanta was something different. You know what I'm saying? And they did that more for the South than anybody to show the intellect. Like, nigga, we smart. They was putting niggas on Behold the Pale Horse, and, like, just like all these different things that are incredibly relevant even to this day. So just to speak to your point, I think they gave, because before it was Uncle Luke and all that, Magic Mike, and we love that shit too. You know what I'm saying? I grew up in Florida during the Miami bass era, but these niggas, like, Dre said it, like, it was Southern niggas on Southern beats talking about Southern shit. I had never heard nobody, I didn't even think you could do that in hip hop. I didn't think that was even a thing. I was trying to figure out how I'm gonna be tough. You know what I'm saying? Like, as a kid wanting to rap, and then this shit comes along, it's like, oh.
And anybody who has a problem with being called country, we're specifically speaking to the conversation that East Coast MCs would have about the lyrical, intellectual, and analytical abilities of anybody who touched a mic and a pen down south. So country visually and aesthetically, like you said, Vu, is one thing. But when you call me country as a lyricist to lyricist, that's when Dre had to put it down and say, we got something to say. And when he said that, Goody Mob was on stage with him too. Let's be clear that night. Right? They were on stage. And I don't know if him and Big Boy would have had as much courage that night without the mob being with them in that, because that was a pressure cooker that night. You hear me?
Yeah. There's a lot of crazy stories about that night. You know, all that shit was popping off. I think somebody got shot that night too. But yeah, I think you're right, man. Like just having the mob. And then what I liked about one of the things that I didn't know about the documentary or didn't know about the group, and I learned from watching the documentary, is how far, you know, niggas went to school together, like elementary school. You feel me? Like that's a different level of, you know, seeing a man, you know, seeing somebody grow up. Like that's different. You know, that's like your cousin, somebody that, you know, is in your family. So for them to go from that to being, you know, one of the most classic groups of all time.
It grew up.
Yeah. Nah, it's been fun to watch, man. Yeah.
So I have a question. They came out on LaFace. We know Babyface. We know L.A. Reid. We know the power of that label at the time. Why didn't Goody Mob end up being a Roots, Janelle Monáe, Gary Clark Jr., Jay Electronica, you got to deal whenever you need it type of group?
You because I gotta
go ahead, man. You're the guest, man. Come on.
I think because I was alive at this time, bro. I hated World Party, bro. I really didn't like it because it felt like they were trying to adhere to the standard, you know, of what was going on at the time. And they had, like they said, you know, even World Party with gold, but they never, you know, broke the platinum threshold.
Which was an accomplishment back then.
Well, yeah, no. But they, like, I could see, you know, and now put the mirror of Outkast next to them, right? So Outkast is becoming this huge group, right? But they're not growing alike. And I think just like the pressures of wanting to, like, I hate that shit. Like, don't try to just do what you like, you know? And I felt like they were one of the first, like my first favorite group. You always hear these stories about the bands and they go through this shit and then they let the label. But I saw it in real time. And that was like one of my first hip hop heartbreaks. So I think that just the time that they were in, straight up, that was one of the first times hip hop.
That's real.
Like when World Party came out, like, oh no, I never thought you would do this, you know. But it taught me a valuable lesson. I just think the climate and sales where when people is like selling 20 million and, you know, Puffy, and I mean, you gotta
on LaFace.
I mean, well, Outkast is, you know, flourishing.
Usher.
The whole, I mean, LaFace is
Tony Braxton.
Babyface, TLC. You know what I mean?
Listen, man. Listen, there was a part in this documentary where, and I thought this was very ironic. Timo says we were trying to figure out what we were doing that was not connecting with the people. I wrote that. I said, bro, you were connecting with the people. Like, if that's your mentality, if you're a Goody Mob coming off of Still Standing and you wondering why you're not connecting with the people, that's one of the biggest issues with the industry, right? And the powers that be, they make you feel like you haven't connected. Still Standing was very connected to the people.
I love that record. I remember playing that for my mom. I went to Sam Goody and bought that. It came back home and like forced my mother to listen to Still Standing.
Yeah.
Man, there was this girl that looked like Pam Grier to me, man. You know what I'm saying? And I have been trying to holler for a minute, bro. So I put together this little mixtape. And that mixtape had beautiful skin on it, man. She would call me. She would call me and they would be playing in the background. I'm talking about the phones with the little wiggly peak, the little wiggly. You got to stretch it. falling asleep on her. Hey, she loved to talk to me. Like, I'm playing that song you gave me in the background of that beautiful skin on, man. So it was those days, man. When you talk about connecting, that's a connection you can't simulate. And for them to be told or to feel like they needed to do something different is disappointing, man. And I would love, I respect that nobody in that documentary said whose ideas were whose for which way to go. They all just said, hey, we're gonna try it. If it work, it work. If it don't. But I know that there were fights. I know at least one of them said, oh, no, I'm on that still standing still. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, I think that's why World Party, and they really didn't talk about One Monkey Don't Stop No Show.
And they shouldn't have. You know, like they back rolling, man. You don't want to stay on that too long.
I mean, it's a part of history, and they did put it like, I was so sad, man. Like, that was like watching Superman get beat up. You know what I'm saying? Like, you couldn't have told it. That shit made me sad, like emotionally, you know, as a hip hop fan, like to see that descent amongst that group of brothers. So, I mean, they ain't really had to talk about it, but it's a part of the history.
Yeah, I do remember, like, to Vu's point, I do remember feeling like they had lost their untouchable status when One Monkey Don't Stop No Show. It was on Koch. I remember this vividly because Lil Keke was also on Koch around that time. You started seeing these people that you knew were hit makers starting to make that switch over to Koch, which in a way was respectable. It was making it. It was framing it like, oh, No Limit, Cash Money, Koch. We on this. It wasn't big yet. Gibb said it. It wasn't cool yet. These days, it's almost corny to talk about. I got a deal. That's corny these days. But then, for me to have to go get, because I went and bought the album, man. The Hustlers Play Your Flutes. I still play that to the day. That's in one of my workouts.
Man, Hustlers Play Your Flute. Yeah, they still had some jammers on there.
Very strong West Coast vibe on that album. I think they were connecting with the Dog Pound a lot and stuff like that. But I remember thinking, wow, you know, when you got Outkast going this way and Goody Mob's on Koch without CeeLo, it was a different feeling than when I bought Still Standing. And then you could tell they put so much money into the package. And that thing unfolded to like 15 pages. Yeah. There was a slum scenario with all the words, Cujo U.
Yeah.
It was crazy, man.
Yeah. And you talk about in World Party?
I don't remember that packaging.
Oh, no, you're talking about in
Still Standing.
Still Standing, yeah, because they had like all the definitions of the words.
It was a book. It was a book. You know, like it was packaged. It was money spent on that presentation. We'll go back to your point though. Why not untouchable? The talent is there.
I mean, it's the most important Southern group, as you said. You know.
You agree with that?
I don't disagree. Certainly don't disagree. You know, why weren't they viewed as, you know? I mean, Jay Electronica can get all the juice in the world 10 years later. You know, Janelle Monáe ain't got no hits. Gary Clark Jr. ain't got no hits. But these are some of the most important Black artists, and they just, you know, the Roots ain't got no hits. Not since, you know, turn of the century. But the point is, singular groups. Why wouldn't Goody Mob have that protected status? Is it because of that left turn they made, or was a label pressuring them to hit those numbers, and that's why they made the term? I don't know. Yeah. But it just seems like that's a group that would have had that protected status.
Yeah.
I don't think that the brothers realized how important they were at the time, which is like a sad like part of it. Cause like to me, they was everything. Like the Junction family, I met Ray Murray once at A3C. And like that shit felt like I met Michael Jackson. Like I was like literally freaking out. And then my publicist, Sherelle Renee, who was fucking dope at the time, brought him over to me and literally put his hand in my hand and said, Reggie Coby, Ray Murray, y'all talk, right? And I just told him like, yo, your music I wouldn't be the man I am today if it wasn't for what y'all put down in that room. And Ray said back to me, and I'll never forget, he's like, okay, Shawty, that's what it's supposed to do. Now you do the same thing. And he came and watched the show, but like, I wish that they got how important they are.
Yeah.
I wish that like flowers for the living, like I always say, I wish that they understood like how, I mean, the most influential group in Southern hip hop. I mean, that's a big statement, bro. You ain't say nothing about Crime Mob.
But listen, man, we are all recording artists, man.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me, you can't tell me because I know the answer to this already.
Mm-hmm.
In your recording careers, I know for a fact we've had moments and times when we didn't realize how important we were.
No, we don't. Y'all niggas don't realize how important y'all are.
The moments that we were in, and I know it because of the choices that we were making.
Mm-hmm. That's a mouthful right there.
So you got Goody Mob, man. Goody Mob, they didn't know. I don't. To Vu's point, you're saying why weren't they untouchable? Why weren't they like the other conversation we had a couple of days ago? Y'all go back and check out that Black Appreciation conversation if you haven't seen it. But they didn't even want to be untouchable. They didn't even know they were supposed to be.
True story. I can relate.
That's the sad part, man. Like, that's why we got to give niggas flowers and like let them know, like, you know, what that meant. The industry is not going to, and they touched on that a little bit, just like what they were saying wasn't popular. You know what I mean? Like, they're not gonna, you know, put the budget behind that for that to, you know what I mean? Like, they're not gonna push that message.
Here, let me ask you this, Kobe. Yeah. You said it wasn't popular. All three of their first three albums went gold. What's popular?
Okay, I'm juxtaposing popular against what was going on at the time, and that's when niggas first started paying attention to record sales and that kind of shit.
Went crazy.
Right.
You talking about World Party and On?
I think no. I'm gonna say all of the records because, I mean, both of the first two records are classics, right? I think we can agree on that. But I think after Still Standing, which is a great record, it was like we right here, we still went gold. We didn't go to platinum. So it's like, well, now let's try to do something to go platinum. And I mean, of course, we see CeeLo, who is one of the greatest writers. You know what I mean? Like, CeeLo crazy. You know. Yeah. So even like Gibbs said, I guess it's a time, man. It's a time for everything. You know. You be wanting that.
If he was gonna go, that was. It's hard, man. Because you think about it. What would you rather? What would we prefer? Goody Mob stay together, and whatever happens to them happens, or we get the moments and the music and the songs that CeeLo have given us on his other journey. I don't know. That's a tough one.
I learned something about Outkast not putting out records. You know, Outkast is.
Don't do that right now, Reggie.
No. I'm not gonna go there. But no, check out. This is what I learned, right? Because that's my favorite music of all time, and I want them to do another record so bad, right? But what I learned is to appreciate that music for that period of time. Like, that cannot be, even if they did do another album and it was jamming, it's a different
time
thing, right? So I just got to appreciate it in that box and just be glad that, like, I got a chance to live with it and experience it and be influenced by it, you know? And I feel the same way about Goody Mob. Like, you talk about World Party, or 1 Month Don't Stop No Show, or Age Against the Machine. Those are all like, you know?
Yeah.
Like seeing Superman get beat up, just seeing your hero falter, it's watching your dad lose a fight. It's like, it hurts.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That's just kind of what Unsung is at the end of the day. They always end it with, you know, they're still performing to this day. But the bottom line is these artists were at one point extremely important to Black music, but never became extremely important beyond that. That's how unsung really breaks down. Because sometimes they put people on there and you're like, this person's unsung. Like I get Mickey Howard, you know.
Yeah.
But you telling me Gerald Levert is
That's exactly who I was thinking about when you said that. It's some episodes when I'm like, nah, we love that man, bro. Like, what are you talking about? Everybody knows what's up.
But I think they're measuring it on a mainstream standard where there's a ceiling for the Black artist.
Yes.
It's not for us though. Like us, these three human beings, like we're into that shit. It ain't for us. You know what I mean? It's for them. It's for the,
But it's TV One, which is blackety black audience.
Hey, a couple of things I want to say real quick, man.
Yo.
I want to talk about 3000 real quick.
And bro, why you?
No. I'm talking about in the documentary. I'm not going off the script.
Okay.
It was so important for him to be a part of this. Mm-hmm. And again, talking about people who do not understand how important they are. Goody Mob, their legacy, their ability to find a platform, which they may not have any problems with right now because of CeeLo's accomplishments or whatever. Yeah. But when you have an artist like 3000, who is the most crossover from the Dungeon family, coming out and letting his fans,
CeeLo, but go ahead. Most crossover?
Boy, stop. Andre 3000 is the biggest star from the Dungeon family.
Really?
Yeah.
CeeLo Green, my nigga. Don't you wish your boyfriend was hot? Like, you know the records this niggas wrote?
Okay.
But Bavu looking at me like.
No, he looking at me, I think, maybe. But let me finish my point. Y'all come back and debate this in a second. What I'm saying is he's the most, I guess, lauded songwriter and lyricist from the Dungeon family dynamic. There's a top 5 list. Nobody ever put CeeLo in their top 5. It's 3000. I guess that's what I'm getting at. So maybe let's take off commercial hits outside of Dungeon family, because nobody can touch CeeLo what he's done sales and catalog wise outside of Goody Mob. But hip hop, 3000 is the voice from Dungeon family that's most respected as far as music opinion.
Okay. Rap.
Yes.
Not mainstream.
If he spoke out in any documentary, any series he did, any podcast he wanted to do, and let people know how hard Cool Breeze is.
Man.
Let people know how hard Backbone is. Let people know how great Goody Mob is. He said it in the documentary. But that's what gets me about 3000, man. It's like, bro, maybe you don't know. But your voice is important, even if you're choosing not to rap right now.
He knows.
That's why he showed up for Goody. I guess I'm assuming he knows that's why he showed up tonight on that documentary.
And you can find out for us, because you basically know people that are making these unsungs easy. So maybe
I do, man. I do.
Yeah,
do a little digging.
Yeah.
By the way, my sister Deanna Williams did her last day on Philly radio today, man. Some transition going on with her, so I want to send blessings to her. Also, here's a hip hop grew up moment.
Oh yeah, bam.
One of the first people on that documentary that had something to say about Goody Mob's early days was a brother named Jandre Pryor. Mm-hmm. He is over he was over the high schools in my KIP network here in Atlanta last year. He's becoming my principal next year.
Wow.
He's coming in to become my new principal. So I texted him right away, like, Pryor, man, I just saw you on this Goody Mob. That was a pleasant surprise. He texts back, thank you, Mr. Peters. Very, very, very politically correct. But you on there talking about how you were in a rap group as a kid with Cujo, man. And I just thought that was very HHGU real time.
Pimpin' pins.
You know, one day when your kids are gonna go back, the kids that you guys are working with now are gonna go back and pull your files, and like, oh shit, Mr. Blake's got bars, like, from there. Mrs. ain't gonna call you easy, but Mr. Peters, got like, oh shit, I didn't know. You know, I think that's a big part of hip hop grew up because we don't, you know, I didn't meet my grandmother until she was 40. You feel me? She had already lived a whole life. Now, mind you, my grandmother's one of my favorite human beings of all time, right? But I didn't meet her until that point in her life. So it makes me think about the whole hip hop grew up thing and like y'all being educators and, you know, dealing with students. That's very powerful. I only had one black man teacher in my whole like academic, you know what I mean, public school. And that nigga was a gym teacher. Yeah. So, man, just to see you guys doing that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I had one black male teacher when I moved from New Orleans to San Antonio. He was at the high school in San Antonio, but he was not. He was a black teacher, but he wasn't from where I was from, if you know what I mean. So it was like, I didn't even register him as a shared experience. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was still just another teacher. So I never registered with any teacher the way I know our students sometimes look at us and talk to us and view us, man. And it's an honor. I mean, that's why I take every chance I get to bring a Black Thought verse into the classroom, or a Cujo verse, or an Andre verse, man, because that's our job, to bridge that gap and to leverage that knowledge, man, the scholarship and intellect of the MCs that we grew up on. And the kids love it. You know, we put it up on big posters and they go breaking down the metaphors and breaking down the symbolism. And they want to know, what album was that from again? You know, so yeah, it's pretty.
I love that. That's what hip hop group is all about, man. I can't wait to see these kids. You know, I do music education with my son in the morning. I just play him. I'll play Rakim. I'll play Roberta Flack. I'll play Jimi Hendrix. I'll play Chicago. I'll play Beethoven.
Yeah.
I'm throwing it at him to try to see what resonates with him. You know what I mean? And then just like go from there. I really want to salute y'all, brothers. I know that what ain't what we were talking about, but like as educators and black men, you know what I'm saying? You're doing the service. Some kid, a lot of kids is gonna look back and be like, yo, I remember Mr. Blakes, Mr. Peters, you know what I mean? This nigga taught me a J Electronica verse. Like, how fucking, you know what I mean? Like, none of my teachers never taught me no verses, you know what I mean? Like, so that's a big deal, you know? And it even goes back to the Goody Mob thing. I learned more from hip hop and like Pac and like shit, Goody Mob and Cass and like niggas like that than I learned from school. You know, I mean, I learned add, math, you know, subtract, divide, all of that shit and words, but like soul, you know, knowledge, you know, just now niggas ain't got dads, so.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
You said the good word. Yeah, man.
It's just more proof that education is more important than school.
Man.
Y'all keep your eyes open for the work we've been doing with educators from around the country. We'll be posting that soon as well.
Yeah.
That's big. I'm going to be homeschooling my son, so I got to change my mind frame, you know, so that's.
You got it.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so, man.
We got your back, bro. It's a family. We're a family, man.
I really appreciate that. Can you bring me some ginger beer, baby?
And happy birthday, Reggie. You got another hour.
Happy birthday, Kobe.
Hey, man. Thank you, brother. Thank you. Yes, please.
Right, cool.
Thank you, man. I'm getting old. I'm almost 40. I know y'all already in the 40 club.
We're talking about Unsung on TV One, as well as the Organized Noise documentary on Netflix to this day.
Man, that Organized Noise documentary is nuts, man.
Serious. It grew up, folks.
It is.
Thanks for watching. Peace, 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 peace.